Good morning, Botai. There is a custom that is brought down in the poskim to delay at least saying kiddush on the first night of Shavuot until Tzedek Kochavim. And the reason for that is because since the Torah refers to the days of Sfirat HaOmer as Tamimot, we need them to be complete. If a person would accept the holiday early, then that would encroach on the completion of these 49 days, and therefore it's preferable to avoid saying kiddush until Tzedek Kochavim. Tonight, Tzedek Kochavim is at 8:45 p.m. So it's preferable to start. You can pray Mincha V'Arvit earlier as long as you push off. By the time you get home, Kiddush should be started at about 8:45, at which point you have the Seudah, and right afterwards you should start the Tikkun. It's a long Tikkun, and there's a lot to read, a lot to learn, so a person should start preferably as soon as possible. Now, with regards to tomorrow night, there's a custom that the Ben Ish Chai brings down in Erev Pe'alim that many people begin Yom Tov Sheni early. They pray Mincha V'Arvit at Plag Mincha, which is a little bit earlier, and even when it's still light outside, they go very much like we do on Lin Shabbat, during the summer when we do early Shabbat. Very similar, you can do that on Yom Tov Sheni as well. The Ben Ish Chai says there is precedent for that in the Halacha. What many people tend to get confused about when they do an earlier Yom Tov Sheni, is with regards to cooking and other preparations for that meal. Now again, if by the time you get home, by the time the men get home from shul, it's still well before Shki'ah, you can cook, you can prepare, everything's fine for that meal, that's not an issue. The issue becomes what happens if they get home closer to Shki'ah, and by the time the preparations are done and everybody sits down, you gather everybody, it's already Shki'ah. That's a little bit of an issue according to many poskim, because then you have prepared from the first day to the second day of Yom Tov. That's a little problematic. In order to avoid that, the halacha is, this is actually based on a Magen Avraham in the beginning of Siman Tav Kuf Chav Zayin. The Sheilot Utshuvot Or Yitzchak Siman Shchet brings this down the halacha as well, that if you know that as soon as the men come home from shul at Plag Mincha before Shki'ah, you're going to sit down to eat the meal, you are technically permitted to cook and do all of the other preparations for this second evening meal anytime tomorrow, anytime on Wednesday, on the first day of Yom Tov. And the reason for that is, logically, since it's all the same day, even though you've already prayed and accepted Kedushat Yom Tov Sheni, but it's still technically the first day of Yom Tov until Shki'ah, and therefore, even earlier in the afternoon, if you want to start cooking or even set the table earlier in the afternoon or evening on the first day of Yom Tov for the Seudah that's going to take place in the evening before Shki'ah, that is also permissible la'alacha, at least according to the Sfaradim Ve'adot HaMizrach, who have such a minhag. Have a wonderful day, and Chag Sameach, Tizkonu Shem Rabot, Na'imot V'Tovot. Don't forget, this evening Mincha is a little bit later than usual. Mincha in Arvit at 7:45 p.m. Chag Sameach.